Ashley has been working in InfoSec for a lot longer than he cares to remember. I know how you feel. And he's worked in finance, global engineering firms, education, and Fortune 50 companies. So he's been around for a while. I've known him for a very long time as well.
It's a shame, isn't it?
It's okay. It's okay. I'm dealing through it. So
Excellent.
if everyone could just give him a warm welcome. Thank you.
Hang on. There's a thingo up on the screen here on the laptop, so it doesn't actually do anything. And the mouse doesn't work. Thanks, John. I appreciate it. Heckles are always welcome. Look, while this dude's doing this, a bit of background behind this presentation, I guess. Cheers, mate. Appreciate it. All good. When I was writing the abstract for this presentation, I was on the couch with my kids, watching kids' cartoons and all that sort of stuff. And any of you guys that have kids that are sort of a younger age would know about the Paw Patrol, I assume. Somehow, subliminally, this all got added into my presentation. I don't know, I'm weird like that. Guys who have worked with me know I'm a bit off kilter. But so this is what happened. And then I had a bit of a thought about how I could do something different, because it's after lunch, everyone's had a big lunch, we're in a dark room, it's cool, everyone feels sleepy, I feel sleepy, you all feel sleepy. So let's do something a bit different. So I don't know why I thought of this, but I thought a choose your own adventure presentation would be the way to go. I don't know how this is going to go. It's probably going to suck, but who cares, right? It's a bit of fun. I'm going to try and get you guys to do stuff, so, you know, be well aware of that. But it might fail in 5 minutes, who knows, whatever. So being a choose your own adventure presentation, obviously you guys have to participate, so I'm looking for, you know, people to raise their arms and yell out and maybe do the wave or something stupid when we get to it. There's no right or wrong answers. Actually, there is one wrong answer. But you guys are all pretty smart, so you won't pick the wrong answer unless you're too smart, and then you will pick the wrong answer just because it'll be fun for a giggle and stuff. Jono, that will be you because you're cool like that. But look, we'll get to some points in the presentation. There'll be multiple choices. I'll get you to yell or something, and we'll go from there. So speaking of crowd participation, I'm pretty lazy. I want to outsource the clicking on the computer. So I'm looking for a volunteer to come up. Someone. Come on. Awesome, come up. What's your name? Mark. Mark. Ash. You're right standing here. You know how to use PowerPoint and all that stuff?
More or less.
Yeah, cool. You know when they're like 5 hands versus 7 hands? Just joking. I'll tell you when I want you to click on something. All right, it's all good. So look, this presentation is stuff that's happened to me through numerous jobs. Like, this is all stuff that's happened over and over and over again. I'm assuming you guys have all gonna have had something similar happen to you as well. So I've obviously changed some details, I've changed some names, I've changed some of the, I guess some of the things that have happened because, you know, we want to make sure that we don't get sued and stuff, or I don't. So, did we go through too many? No, we're good. It's all good. There'll be like a whole bunch of choices and then I'll get you to click on it and hopefully it'll work on here, I don't know. And if it doesn't, we'll work something out, right? So anyway, so this is you guys. Paw Patrol, straight away, Captain Turbot. His real name's Horatio. What an awesome name that is. But anyway, you've been in the security field for ages. You know, you think you know what there is to know about security. You're a pretty solid actor. And you've just started a new job. So you're working for a company called Cash Whale. So Cash Whale has a bunch of research that they do onto whale vomit and stuff like that. Some intellectual property about how to catch whale vomit and do cool stuff with it. And then they've got a bunch of really cool, I guess, personal information on famous people and influencers that like to tweet about whale vomit. So anyway, you've started at Cashwell. It's a sort of a small security team there. You meet the team in about 5 minutes and work out all the pleasantries with them. You go through all the stuff with the business and work out what's what and all that sort of stuff. And then you start doing a bit of a gap analysis on the security function. And shock, horror, disbelief, you find out they're a bit of a low maturity level. They've got a SIEM and stuff like that in place, but it hasn't been looked after, it hasn't been loved or anything like that. It probably needs a bit more work. It hasn't got all the log sources in there that you'd like. There's some policies and framework like that in there. It's really basic. Actually, there's only 2 policies, but it's a policy stuff, right? And they don't really have much of an incident response process or capability at the moment. So we've got to do something. This is where I'm going to get you to start clicking in a second. Cool. So we've got to do something. We've only got limited resources and all that sort of stuff. So what we could do is we could start focusing on our policies and framework. We could probably start designing security in a way that, the users in the organisation sort of get a bit of a better feel for what security is, and hopefully start working a bit better. By putting some frameworks in, we can probably work out what the risk is to the business and all that sort of stuff and start addressing it. We could look at doing stuff with our incident response capabilities so that we don't end up in the paper and we can, when someone taps us on the shoulder to say something bad's happening, we can probably deal with it in a pretty good manner. Or we can start putting some tools and technologies in place because, we've all been around the traps. We sort of know what's going on. We know what we should be doing. So should we make them stand or wave, or what do you want?
Wave, I reckon.
Wave. All right, so who wants to do policies and frameworks? Start waving your hands furiously. 1 person. You're my person. 2, yeah. 3, we should party tonight. We can all have a lemonade. Who wants to do incident response so that we don't go in the... Well, everyone wants to do incident response. Sweet. And what about putting some tools and technology in place? I don't know, you make the call.
Tools and technology.
You want to do tools and technology? Yeah, sweet. Can you click it? Can you? I don't know if you can.
I don't even have a mouse pointer.
Where's the mouse gone? So somewhere.
Oh. All right.
Hey! So, I reckon that's a great idea. We need to put some tools and technology in so we can start getting some visibility into what's going on our network. So we work hard over the next few months, we put in all the stuff that we think, and we start getting a lot more visibility into what's happening on our network. Once we start getting that visibility, we start working with all the other people in the IT function, the rest of the business, to try and get some processes in place and get the most out of our tools. Everything's going along nicely, and we start doing some high fives. It's all good. Next, that's you. You can press that. Can you get that one? He didn't do it right. No, he did it right. And then we hear about the most epic event ever to occur in history. Cashwell is going to hold a Nicolas Cage convention because he is the best. What, nobody's think he's the best? You like Nick, right?
Love him.
Sweet. While I've got all these people in a room, so full disclosure, I can't stand Nicolas Cage, he's a dick. But every time I go onto Netflix and look at the movies, every second movie is Nicolas Cage. Is that just me or does everyone get that? You? Yeah. But no one else. Or do you guys all like Nicolas Cage? Yeah, you do, don't you? Right, I can't stand it. Anyway, we'll move on. So obviously this is going to be a really significant event for us, It's going to draw a lot of attention to our organisation. We're not really sure. We think we should be doing some extra stuff. We don't want someone to hack us or to deface one of our websites. We're going to have a website that's going to have pictures of Nicolas Cage all over it, and we don't want someone to deface it with pictures of John Travolta or something, right? Because that'd suck. All right, so we decide to email our boss and ask him if it's true and start working out if we should do some sort of plan to put some extra stuff in place. Do you reckon you can get that one, or do you want me to? So you do it now. And for the people playing along at home that know Paw Patrol, Harold is actually Harold Humdinger. He's the evil Mayor Humdinger. So if you pick the right choice later on, you'll work out why he's evil, and he is evil. But anyway, so we send an email to him, and this is the email. We say, hey, Harold, we hear that Nicolas Cage is coming. You know, we're doing this convention. It's going to be pretty cool. Do you think we should get some stuff together, put some extra security controls in place, because we don't want anything bad to happen? Harold comes back with, hey, Captain, because it's Captain Turbot, Horatio. Wouldn't worry about it. It's only Nicolas Cage. This will be a non-event. I mean, it's Nicolas Cage. So we've got two choices. Do you think we've got this, or should we do a review? Because, you know, it's Nicolas Cage. So who thinks we've got this and don't need to do anything? Of course you'd say that, Reese. You love the Cage. All right, who reckons we should do a review? Yeah, of course we should do a review. There was actually a slide, and if you didn't do a review, I was going to ask you if you were drunk, and then there was a picture of Homer drunk. It was really cool, but I'm pretty disappointed you didn't pick that. And that was the wrong answer too that we spoke about at the beginning. So little disappointed you weren't smart enough to actually pick the wrong answer when I really wanted you to do it, but whatever. So anyway, we engage a well-known third party, let's call them Company X, to start assessing our security controls. Overall, they think we're doing okay. They give us some recommendations and all that sort of stuff. You know, they tell us we should, you know, do some stuff with our playbooks, whatever. Before they leave, we run through an incident response test and exercise, and we just make sure that everyone knows what they're doing in case of an incident, so it's not, you know, something new to us. So we let our executive group know, and we keep working away up until the event. So another two choices. I'm going to make everyone stand up this time. Stand up. Or should they do like the wave, like that?
I think they're more likely to stand up.
Okay, we'll get you to stand up this time. So stand up if you think we're good to go. I like you. Stand up if you think we should have done more, but you know, we can't do any more. Joke's on all you guys, because it's the same choice. You should see that. Just pick anyone, it's the same thing. So, look, you spend a lot of time, you know, you extend your security capabilities, you get some third parties, you know, to help you do some stuff. You put all your logs into your SIEM and expand your SIEM, and you get it tuned and all that sort of jazz. You get some incident response playbooks together, you throw some DDoS capabilities in there, and, you know, everything's working really well. The event goes off without a hitch. You know, I believe the people in the background with the Nick Cage masks are called Cageaholics. I don't know. I also found out while doing this that there's a plugin, like an add-on for Chrome called Cageify. I don't know if you've ever seen it. And so it just turns like every picture into Nicolas Cage, like a different one. It was so awesome. I didn't know how I could work it into this though. So, hang on, let me just slide down here a bit. Oh, yeah. So we finally have everything working. We've got some skilled people and all that sort of stuff on board. And you know, this is where we actually want to be. But, you know, we know that we can't sort of sustain it. It's a big event, Nicolas Cage. So, you know, the business isn't going to keep paying for stuff past Nicolas Cage. If I go over time, start throwing Mentos or something at me, all right? Sweet, done. So then we're going to go next. So the organisation's really pleased, you know, they're glad nothing sort of happened during the event, and, you know, we continue to monitor things for quite some time. Look, with everything that happened before the Nick Cage event and through it, you know, we feel like we're in a pretty good position. The guys on the team are starting to look a little bit tired and knackered and run down, so now's a good time to give them a break. So, you know, we could probably give them a break and it'll all be cool, but now that we've got all these extra resources and all this other stuff in, you know, we don't know, you know, if we're going to see something now, because we're actually looking. So we've got two choices. Do we let the team go and have a Bex and a lie down? Wave your hand, I guess. Who reckons we should keep on trucking?
I think it's marginally the latter. What do you think?
Keep on trucking, let's do it.
Look at
Oh no, what are you doing? This is awesome up here. It's nothing like doing a live thing. It never works. I did a presentation a couple of years ago, and it was a live demo, and the demo failed, and I was up here doing interpretive dance while I was waiting for all the VMs to reboot. It was awesome. I still get reminded about it every day. Anyway, sorry, I digress. Hello, I'm here. So the team's really committed to keep on reviewing things for the next few months. And in doing that, they notice that there's some suspicious activity occurring. A couple of websites are getting scanned. You know, one particular server is getting a lot of love from some sort of automated tool. Could be SQL map or something, we don't know at the moment. Look, we could easily fix this by adding some rules into our web application firewall or our firewalls, and it'll stop it. But the team thinks it's probably best to investigate this a bit further. You can click now. So as we progress and investigate this further, we find more and more suspicious activities. The activities at the moment don't look particularly malicious, but there's a lot of recon work going on. The team goes and asks the other areas of IT if they've noticed anything. They don't seem to think there's anything really going on. There's been a couple of things that have been, you know, false alarms or gone down a road that doesn't need to go down. They reported that one, user has found some sort of phishing email, but it was pretty well written and took some of the current stuff. But at the end of the day, you get a million phishing emails every day. You get the team to start putting all the activity together in a bit of a timeline to see if you can start picking patterns and all of that stuff. Once they've done that, we see a couple of things that we really think we should give our boss a bit of a quick heads up about. You're doing an awesome job, thanks. I'm glad I got you. I was going to get Jorge, one of the other guys I've worked with before, but he would have stuffed this right up. Yeah. So you're just about to call your boss and let him know that something's going on, and then you get an alert from your DLP solution, and it ends up that the DLP solution's grabbed what looks like a movie file and blocked it. So once you investigate further, you notice that the actual header of the file isn't a movie file, but it's a zip file. And so once your analysts start working through that, they notice that that zip file is a whole bunch of intellectual property and research information. So this all of a sudden starts looking a lot more sort of suspicious than what it really did before. So we call our boss up and say, we've found this stuff. The team want to work through it. You're a bit doubtful, but you give them the benefit of the doubt. So two choices. Do we want to bring in the big guns, get company X again, it's our, your incident response company, or do you let the team work through it and see what they can find? So let the team work through it, waving like this time. Get a third party in? Everyone wants to. They've got deep pockets. They're not paying. We're up here eating baked beans every day and they're living on bloody dying cat food. So as we go through the incident with this third-party company, it starts looking, that things are a bit bigger than what we initially thought. They work with the team, you find a bunch of stuff, and we slowly start remediating it and getting on top of it. As we get towards the end of the investigation, to bring a long story short, the third party brings up a bunch of activities that we should probably do to make sure that things don't go wrong again the next time we have an incident. Now, of these activities, a number of them are activities that the same company earlier when we were doing our Nicolas Cage event had come in and said they were all good. So they said they were all good, we've had an incident, they've come back now and said, nah, it's not all good, you're rubbish. Oh, cool. Thank you. But having come out of an incident, you're doing awesome. This is awesome. Do you want a job? I've got a job. Anyway, having come out of an incident, though, Cash Whale is really happy to start spending some money. They don't want to be in the paper again. They don't want, John Travolta on their website or anything like that. So we start off by implementing all the stuff that Company X has told us to do. We get some other stuff that we've been sitting on for a while that they didn't want us to implement, and we start working on that, and we start making a bit of progression. So unbeknownst to us, Cash Whale's organised some sort of red team exercise or something similar to be conducted once we've finished the remediation activities. Everything should still be fresh in our minds, so they think that's a good time. You and your team start finding some of these indicators that something's going on, and you ask around, and The IT guys, yet again, haven't seen anything. They think it's all good. But your guys are pretty sure something's going on. So you go and talk to your boss, and you say, look, we've noticed this stuff. It doesn't look particularly malicious, but it just doesn't look right. It's a bit dodgy. He eventually comes clean and tells us that, something was going on. It was a red team exercise. He's a little disappointed that we didn't pick up sooner because of all the other stuff that had been going on. And you decide tomorrow's a really awesome day to have a sickie. Because why not? So later on down the path, you and your team and your boss, you start having a few meetings with the rest of the IT function, and you let them know what's going on. For everyone that's done a red team activity or something, a fairly in-depth audit and pen test, you know that there's a lot of activities that always come out of these things. These guys love to find findings, that sort of stuff. But, they come up with all these activities that need to be done. And yet again, we find that the stuff that we've already done twice, we're doing again. We're starting to get a little bit sad. We're feeling like we're doing the same thing over and over. We feel like it's Groundhog Day. But that's the way it is. We know this is a game of catch-up. We're always going to be behind these guys that are trying to attack us. So you and your team start putting in some sort of continual improvement program to try and get one step ahead of these guys. But we know it's only a matter of time before our next incident or some sort of review. Oh yeah. That night, you have a brainwave though. And thank you for reminding me, because this is what's going to save all of your jobs. This is the most important part of this whole presentation. I know I sound like a self-help guru, and I feel like Britney Spears, but I'm neither. Do it. Red Rooster. You might ask, why Red Rooster? Why not KFC? Why not Macca's? Why not Hungry Jack's? Nobody goes to Red Rooster. You can sit and cook chips for a whole session and no one will even talk to you. But really, go to the next one. The grass is always greener. We always think somewhere's going to be better. This is one of my favourite stories for when I'm feeling a bit down, thinking I can't do my job or I get a bit annoyed. I couldn't put the dude's photo in here because he's a real-life Robin Hood and he might be here because he's from around here. And if you are here, please introduce yourself to me because you're cool. But it turns out that at Red Rooster, this admin actually had a pretty heated argument with his boss over a safety issue. His boss didn't like him raising the safety issue and sacked him. So, access control and all those other sort of security controls aside, he went home and got onto one of the chicken ordering systems from one of the vendors. In fact, he went to all of the vendors, so there was 3 vendors. He ordered, it was like a ton of chicken or something, and got it sent all to one Red Rooster franchise. How he could do that is beyond me, because who needs to order chicken from home for work? Why he could do it is beyond me, but he could do it. And then when I'm really down and I think I'm pretty rubbish at my job, I read what his lawyer said. Now, the picture of him, he has got red hair. And so his lawyer was like, hopefully this is a single aberration in his life. You can see he's got red hair. Maybe it's a function of that. Like, who would say that? And whose lawyer would say that? Like, that is just obscure. But anyway, we can't all be that great. Thanks. So on the left, my wife loves Googling, when she's got an illness or something. And so when she does, I always send this to her. So like you sneeze, you got cancer, you stub your toe, you got cancer. And security is the same, right? Like it sucks to be us. No matter what we do, no matter what happens in security, in IT, it always seems to lead to some sort of breach. We forget how hard it is to be us some days, But there's surely something that we can do to make this better for ourselves. We've got a stack of frameworks that can help us limit the bad. And none of this next lot of stuff is going to be new to you guys. You've all seen it in one way, shape or form. But, we just have to be aware of it. We've got the NIST cybersecurity framework. This is absolutely awesome to put up to your executive and to your boards and stuff like that. right there, you can make a dashboard and show them how you're doing stuff. So, you know, you've got identify, protect, detect, da-da-da-da-da. Then you've got all the different activities, you know, asset management, and then you can break that down. So you can actually turn that into a dashboard. You can say percent implemented, percent effectiveness, and show them, you know, via a heat map of what you're doing. They can straight away see, we've got gaps in detect, or we can't recover, or something like that. So this is always a really good one. I'm a big fan of that. The CIS 20 controls, the X-SANS 20 critical controls, they're always a winner. You know, you've got your basic stuff, you've got your foundational stuff, and you've got your organisational stuff. And at the end of that, they say you're X% better, you know, at preventing intrusions and all that sort of jazz. Once we start getting a bit more mature, we can start using the MITRE ATT&CK framework. So if someone does come in, this is what they can do. And for each of those things that they can do, it's got remediation activities. It's really good. It's pretty in-depth. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. They've already invented the wheel for you. That's a good one as well. We got the ASD Essential 8. We should all know that. You know, there's, you know, do these things and you'll help prevent, you know, people getting into your network. Do these other things and you'll limit what they can do once they're in there. That's a really good one. This is the AusCERT New Zealand Critical 10. I think they only released that either late last year or early this year, but that's a good one as well. Making sure you've got multi-factor authentication, default credentials, you know, manage your cloud authentication and all that sort of stuff. And then probably one of the other most overlooked thing is our users. You know, they're probably a lot smarter and a lot better than we give them credit for. I guarantee the majority of your users all use multi-factor authentication on their Facebook accounts, their Twitter accounts, their Instagram accounts, their bank accounts, and all that sort of stuff. But I guarantee we all work for companies that will turn around to us and say, we don't want to put multi-factor in because the users won't know how to use it. I don't get it, but they do. We also need to make sure that, you know, these users, we empower them to be able to let us know easily when something's going wrong. If they're seeing phishing emails in their Outlook, don't make them go through all these hoops to report it. Give them a little button in Outlook so they can click and go report phishing, and then we take all the rest of it. Make it harder for us than for them. If they need to report some sort of other issue, give them a way to like message you or text you or do a simple form, whatever it is. Don't just give them the computer-based training. Don't just bore them. Let them do all the hard lifting for you. And then the other thing is around practicing. So practice your incident response. Practice it with everyone that needs to be involved. If you don't practice it, when it all goes to pear-shape, you can't do it. Make sure that if you've got a cyber incident, you've practiced all the way back up into business critical incident response plans and stuff like that. Make sure you've got those linkages between them. The last thing you want is, you know, for an incident to happen and for you to not be able to get it all the way through to, you know, your business critical incident response plans or whatever. If you've got MSPs, make sure you practice it with your MSPs as well, because, you know, there's nothing worse than an incident happening. You need to use your MSPs. You've never done this with your MSPs. They don't know what you expect. You don't know what to get out of them, and it all goes to custard. And if all else fails, you can always work at Bunnings Warehouse, where you can stand in the plumbing section, someone can ask you for a brass plumbing fitting, and you can point them at the wood aisle. Happened to me on the weekend. But that's it for me. We sort of breezed through it and picked some right choices. Luke's shocked, but, you know, we can all go and have a beer together if you want. You know, I'm cool with that. But thank you very much. Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Thank you. Thanks, Mike. Caught me by surprise. I was like, here I am with the timer and everything.
Yeah, I know.
But if we do have any questions, we have ample time. So are there any questions?
Who's buying beers?
That is a question.
Me? No. Maybe one or two.
That is the first Choose Your Own Adventure presentation I've ever seen.
You know, I came up with a stupid idea and then it got picked and then I had to provide a stupid presentation. Sorry, it's not a stupid presentation, but a stupid concept. I don't know.
I thought it was brilliant, mate. Very, very well done. Can we give another round of applause? That was fantastic, mate.
Thanks, mate. Everyone have an ice cream.